Ladies and gentlemen, baseball is finally back! Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Phillies Sensitive Media, and today we're going to be talking about the MLB and MLBPA coming to an agreement on a collective bargaining agreement. I mean, this is just great. So they agree to a new CBA. Now, guys, before getting into this video, please subscribe if you haven't done yet. Please show me guys your bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and let's get into this. So baseball is finally back, right? I mean, after almost 100 days, of this annoying and pathetic lockout, it is finally over. The unlock. Baseball is unlocked. So what an amazing day. Seemed pretty positive all throughout the day, right? I mean, a lot of optimism. Got a little weary there in the end. Of course, 4 owners did vote against the proposal that was sent to the players, and it was a unanimous vote to unlock the players. We'll see, that was 30-0 to unlock the players. So the players will be officially reporting to their camps on March 13th. So this Sunday, and the first spring training game will be for the Phillies on March 18th against the Detroit Tigers at 105. So I'm just so excited. I mean, we're going to get back into baseball vibes. Of course, free agency at the time of this video, it is 7:07 p.m. Free agency resumes at 7 o'clock. So Dave Dombrowski back in business. Of course, he was able to make some minor league signings, but now it's going to be the big boys. I mean, you heard the report about Freddie Freeman, being, offered a contract by the Tampa Bay Rays. Where does he go? Where does he go? And I think that's a very interesting thing to bring up. I mean, Freddie Freeman, does he leave the NL East? I sure hope so. It looks like he will. It looks like the Yankees are going to make a big play for him. I think he does end up with New York. A lot of people think LA. I do not think he will sign back with the Braves. I did originally think that, but I just don't see that happening. I mean, the Braves have to pay Ronald Acuna. They have to try to keep Ozzie Albies. I mean, they have a lot of, pieces to keep. As wonderful as it would be for the Braves to, keep Freddie Freeman around, almost like the Chipper Jones type, I just don't see how realistic it is. I just don't really see that happening. But that it is finally over. I mean, after a video last night talking about, how bad this was. Of course, the season is going to start on April 7th for the Phillies against the Oakland Athletics at home. So we have another opening day at home. The games that were missed, the first week of the season will be made up in doubleheaders. And as I just said, 3 more days added on to the regular season. So this is just great. So you avoid the disaster of having a double layer, as I talked about last night. You avoid the disaster of having a potential double layer negotiations if you let the 162 get compromised. And they did not let the 162 get compromised. They did not. And thankfully, they were smart enough. Is not so smart as they were to let this lockout happen in the first place. They were smart enough to not let the 162 get affected. So congratulations to them on not letting that happen. I'm very, very happy about that. So I'm still annoyed. That they put us through, but you know what? Who cares? I don't care about what Tony Clark says. I don't care about what Rob Manfred says. I don't care. We have baseball. They came to an agreement on the international draft. They're gonna revisit that on July 25th. I think that does definitely benefit the owners significantly more. You get rid of the qualifying offer. Give until July 25th to do that, and it was kind of petty until the end, right? I mean, the CBT and the pre-rotation bonus pool definitely was, far apart from the very beginning. They were able to compromise on that, of course. But the CBT, I mean, they were like right there. Of course, it wasn't, publicized. But some unnamed players on the New York Mets complaining about it, and they thought the CBT was too low. Some unnamed New York Mets players. Let's think for a second. First name that comes to my mind, Francisco Lindor. Possibly Max Scherzer, who's been pretty vocal in this entire process. So, of course, leave it up to the Mets. I mean, they can't Met on the field, so they're going to try to Met the CBA negotiations. Well, good job. You failed. Like you do on the field every year. You failed. You Met. So good job by the Mets there. Another failed attempt at messing something up. Am I right? Of course, my Phillies aren't much better. I know that. So it's interesting. What moves are you going to see Dave Dombrowski make? I mean, you heard the reports, right around December 2nd that the Phillies were very, very close to signing Kyle Schwarber. And they really, really were. So hopefully they can resume that. Hopefully you can come to an agreement. As regards for my schedule, I have not decided how I'm going to do spring training. Of course, it's going to be mostly every game. I usually do not do every single game of spring training. Usually do about, 3 during the middle of the week. I do both of the weekend games. But this Saturday, final weekly of the off-season, now I'm going to have the spring training preview, which will officially mark the end of the 2021-2022 all-season playlist. So that will be the end of that. And from there on out, it's going to be great, man. This is just great. So, we have a great news this weekend. We have not just pitching catchers, all of the rosters reporting on Sunday. The Phillies back in action a week from today. Against the Detroit Tigers, as I said. I mean, they're going to be on the road, and if I remember correctly, I think our first game last year in 2021 spring training was against the Detroit Tigers. You did hear they did make some, revisions to the schedule starting in 2023, and this is very interesting. Of course, they're going to limit the amount of divisional games for all the teams, and they're going to have, each year you're going to play all other 29 teams. I like that. I really do. I wasn't a huge fan of it when I first heard about it. I think that's going to make things more interesting. Guess what? You know what? Mike Trout, who just pretty much is just hidden on the West Coast. Somebody made a great point. Somebody made a great point to me the other day. They said, if you have a young kid who's a diehard baseball fan, do you really think they're going to want to stay up until 10 o'clock at night and watch Mike Trout play? I mean, no. And then, of course, he wakes up the next morning, turns on ESPN or MLB Network or whatever it may be and sees the highlights. He's just going to see, what he did well. He needs to sit there and watch every single Mike Trout at-bat, see him battle through the at-bat. I mean, pitch after pitch. I mean, this guy is just a machine. And guess what? Now you're going to have him flying all around the country, right? You're going to see him more. You are going to see him more. Players like Mike Trout, Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna Jr. are going to be seen more around the country. So I think that's part of the reason why they're doing it, trying to get players more exposure. So I think this is helping the game. This is definitely helping the game. I'm definitely a big fan of it. So bravo. I do like that. I was a little torn on it at the beginning. Of course, we're going to see less of Bryce Harper going against the Nationals, which I'm a little bit disappointed about, but it is what it is. We're still going to see a lot of course, 19 divisional games a year, and I'm interested to see it. And there's not a certain number. Of course, I guess you could do the math and figure it out, but I'm interested to see how that's going to go. What I'm thinking is probably will happen is each year you're going to alternate who's at home and who's on the road. That's how I see that happening. But I'm very excited. Of course, the Los Angeles Angels coming to Citizens Bank Park this year, as they were supposed to in 2020. Of course, for obvious reasons, that did not happen. But I just can't believe it. I mean, I did wake up this morning with some optimism, but I was tired of being optimistic, right? I mean, we were tired of being optimistic. We were tired of being positive. We just won in baseball. Covering this has just been not fun. It has not been fun. Of course, I tried to make it fun. I'd like to thank you all for sticking with me during these negotiations. Was just brutal. Probably one of the most brutal stretches I've had with this media operation. It's been brutal. I mean, of course, I love what I do here. I love what I do here. Love what you do. Never work a day in your life. But this has been brutal. This has just been brutal, and it finally comes to a close. It finally comes to a close today. This awful all winter long. I shouldn't even say back and forth because they weren't going back and forth for a while. There was no back and forth as there should have been at the very beginning. But I'm not here to talk about that. It is finally over. Free agency has resumed. The players' faces are shown on the websites. The ticket offices are getting just a spammed with phone calls of fans buying tickets. Things are popping, ladies and gentlemen. Things are happening. In the world of baseball. So it's a very, very good feeling right now. I'm not really in that baseball mindset just yet. I mean, it's just, I feel kind of numb about it. It's hard to believe the lockout is over. I keep, checking my phone because I got so used to checking my phone on Twitter to see, news about the CBA. And it's weird. I went to go look at my phone tonight and I'm thinking like, what am I doing? I mean, there's nothing to look at anymore. I mean, of course, there's a little bit of news about free agency, but it's over. It is over. Now, Dave Dombrowski has a lot of work to do, right? So we can put the CBA behind us. Now we take a look at the Phils. Dave Grabowski has a lot of work to do. We all know that. He has a lot of work to do. He needs to totally revamp this bullpen. How many straight off seasons is this now that he has to revamp this bullpen? How many straight off seasons is this now? I mean, this is just, of course, this does go back under the reign of Andy McPhail, Matt Klentak. He did not a very good job last offseason at trying to, he made a little attempt at trying to fix up the bullpen, but it just wasn't good enough. So Corey Knebel was a great start right before the lockout took place, so I fully expect much, much more. I expect us to go out and get a center fielder, whether it's going to be on the free agent market or via trade. There's a surplus in the corner outfield spots, so we should have no problem in getting a corner outfielder, preferably Kyle Schwarber, who I'd be a huge fan of if we sign him, and we can finally do it! We can finally do it. I'm just so happy. I'm so relieved. I think I could speak for all baseball fans by saying I am just so relieved. No more Manfred of the Instagram feed of like every time you go on my feed on Instagram, you see every picture. It's mostly Rob Manfred or Tony Clark. Nope, not anymore. Not anymore. Goodbye, Rob Manfred. Of course, he is still the commissioner, but not going to hear as much from him now since this is over. And thank God. And do you see the Players Association fire Tony Clark? I think that's very interesting. A lot of talk about that because the general consensus is that he did not do the best job of handling this lockout. And a lot of players are reportedly upset. It's kind of just hearsay. I've just been told that. But do you see the Players Association vote to fire Tony Clark and get a new union chief? I think that'd be very interesting to see if they do that. But as I said, he's not really done the best job. He's not really well liked. As I said, not really well liked. He even tried to, mess this up in 2016 when they were negotiating the CBA that, of course, did expire in 2021. And you saw the gaps. It was really, really scary. It was really, really scary. I never would have thought that would have gone on this long. Both sides caved. And the owners did most of the caving, I'll be honest. The owners did the significant amount of caving, but the players caved on it a little bit too. When it came to, things like, trying to get to free agency before 6 years, things on that, I think that's going to be things that they look for, in probably the next CBA. They're probably going to bring that up again, but who cares? That's 5 years from now. Who cares? Who cares? I'm so glad they did not do that 3-year thing, and 3 years from now we could be going through this again. I think next CBA is going to be different. And let me just make something very clear. Every sport, whether it's NHL, NBA, NFL, MLB, I'm not even going to include MLS or NLL because those are just not really the top line sports. But every sport goes through a rough patch. Whether it's a union dispute against the owners, every single sport goes through a rough patch. And the MLB just went through one. And maybe they're not just over it just yet, but they're overcoming it. They are overcoming it. And it kind of started in 2020. And of course, maybe in 20 years, you see it happen again, and then it gets better. So you saw it with NHL in 04-05. You saw it in the NFL about 10 years ago. You saw it in the NBA about 10 years ago. So, every sport at some point reaches a breaking point, and then they get better. And then they reach a breaking point, and then they get better. So it's ebbs and flows, with negotiations, with the relationship between the players and the owners. And as I said, the owners went into, as they did every CBA, expecting the players to cave, and they didn't this time. They were surprised, and that's why they locked them out. And it is official. It is official. Of course, the reports this afternoon were very, very exciting, but it wasn't official. They have officially announced that Major League Baseball has officially announced it. The hot stove is hot. It's going to be hot. So I'm so excited. Baseball is back, everyone. Let's go. I'm planning on, of course, if the Phillies make a big signing like Kyle Schwarber, I'll most likely make a video about that. If they make, some significant signings in the bullpen, you'll just see me just make a video talking about all the signings. I'm not going to make a video about every single signing. I'll just, combine it into one. But the Phillies sound like a big name like Schwarber or something like that. You're probably going to see me make a video about that. So as I said, schedule, weekly update, final weekly update this Saturday, spring training preview. Spring training we go, man. I'm just so excited. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Please hit the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Check out the social media links. Scoop 6. Phillies Stove Media, Instagram, TikTok, Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at PNStoveMedia. Call or text 267-225-3292. Email me, philliesstovemedia@gmail.com. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Luke, and I'll talk to you later. I'll see you guys.